Hey there guys, welcome back to my channel Crafty Concepts with Erin. I'm Erin and I'm here today with the creative design team showing you different ways to use stencils. Today we're going to create a scrapbook layout. I have a couple different stencils. Now these are card making stencils, at least that's what they were designed for, but I'm going to show you how you can use these on a scrapbook page. So I know it's a little bit difficult to see. Let me grab the catalog really quick. In the core catalog, if you flip to the back, there is an entire page of stencils, and these are really cool because these are 12 by 12 stencils, perfect for scrapbooking. A couple weeks ago I used this one and created a layout, and I thought that was a really fun technique to try. Here are the card stencils, so I'm going to be using this one up here that has kind of a more formal pattern, like a mandala, if you will. And then I'm also using this one here that says love you in different fonts. The whole thing is just love you, love you, love you. So I'm going to be doing a stencil layering technique with those. Now what you see here, this is the Love Story collection, and that is also in the core catalog. Let's see, I've got it marked here. What I love about this is you have different color options. So, you know, it is intended for a wedding. It would be great for an anniversary also. But depending on your color scheme, there is black and white, mink and white, or we have the craft color. And each one has their own coordinating sticker sheet, the different pocket cards. So there's lots of options depending on, you know, what the tone of your photos is that you will be documenting. But the black and white has gold foiled accents. The mink has silver foiled accents. It's absolutely gorgeous. So not only are these papers fantastic neutrals, you can get just the paper pack. If you don't want to focus on the wedding aspect, you don't have to get the sticker sheet. So like I said, they're just great neutrals for everyday scrapbooking. But I am doing a wedding photo today. So let me clear this up and we'll get started. It's perfect. My wedding picture or wedding colors were black, white, and red. So this is definitely going to work for me. Let me get this cleared up. So I have a confession. I actually got married in 2003. Yeah, that was a long time ago. And yes, I am still working on my wedding album, and I'm okay with that. You know, that's all right. If I was actually caught up with all of my scrapbooking, I'd be super sad. And I'd be outside taking random pictures just so I had stuff to scrapbook. Since we are layering stencil images, we're going to start with this one here that has kind of the mandala pattern on the background. And I am going to secure that. I reuse these and reuse these for so many things until they lose their tackiness. It's Post-it removable labeling tape, and I get this on Amazon, and it works great for holding my dies in place and for applications like this. So I am just putting a tiny bit of tape at the top here. Let's see, I think I want it right about there. And another at the bottom. I'm going to use Mink ink, that's fun to say, and I don't want to completely fill this in the rectangle. I want a very organic shape. Using my little sponge dauber tool, I'm going to just wipe that in ink and then apply it right through my stencil. I'm using a circular pattern to apply this. You can pounce on it, different techniques really to get the color on there. I want it kind of dark, so I'm making sure to really go over that and press that into the stencil. Now again, I don't want it going all the way out to the edges, so I'm starting in the middle and then just kind of fanning that out so it gets lighter as it moves out towards the edge. You can lift up the stencil. It's easy to line back up, and that way you can check your progress and see if there's any areas you need to touch up. I am happy with this, so I'm going to bring in my second stencil. This is the one that just says I love you in different fonts, and I'm going to layer this stencil over the top of the other. Now I chose to do two different inks because I want that to stand out. I have seen tone on tone with layering techniques, and I think that is cool too, but for this application we're using black over the mink. And again, I want this to be a natural shape, not exactly the rectangle shape that the stencil is. So I'm starting in this area here, and I will move out towards the edge, allowing my ink to get lighter as it fans out. I think stencils are a great investment in the craft room because they're fairly inexpensive. You can use them over and over and over again. They don't take up a lot of space, and you can customize them by changing up the ink colors and getting different looks with different techniques. We're just about done with our layered image here, and I'm going to lift up the bottom like a little hinge and check. It kind of looks like a hot mess, but hang with me because it's going to look really good in the end. I'll clear those out of the way and bring in my photo. Here is just one wedding photo. Now this piece of paper here is from the current mix-ins in the January and February catalog. Again, another great paper pack of neutrals. So this is Mink with white polka dots, and I believe that's about 5 inches. I'm going to mat it on this floral paper with a black background from the Love Story collection. I did a really wide border around that, and I'm going to layer it right over the top. But before I adhere this down, I'm taking my edge distressor and I'm going to rough up the edge here. You can do this with the backside of your scissors. Just be careful, but we're just adding some texture to the edge of the paper. Looking at this, I definitely want to add something below right in this area here just to kind of anchor that. So this border stencil is going to be perfect. There's this kind of vine-like image. Let me show you in the catalog. It's a little easier to see, but lots of different borders that will stretch the full length of your paper. So I think that's going to look good right about there. Let me just kind of bump these out of the way, and then I can secure this with my Post-it removable tape, and we'll add some color. For this one, I'm going back to my black ink and I'm going to apply that the same way with my sponge tool. And the actual stenciled image is about 11.5 inches. It doesn't go all the way to the edge, but you of course could bump it to the left or right if you wanted it to go side to side. I know some people have opted to cut their stencils and separate the different images, but I thought for storage purposes, I decided to keep them together. I thought it'd make it easier. Yes, I think that is looking really cool down there. I pulled this off the coordinating sticker sheet. It says "This is us," and I'm going to use this for my title. I have a lot of room on the left-hand side of the photo, which works well because we read left to right, so it's a natural spot for the title. I have a bin full of hearts here, so I always check my, stash before I create any new embellishments. And since my colors were black, white, and red, this red heart is going to work really well. It's going to add a big pop of color to this otherwise kind of monochromatic layout here. Since I introduced red, I want to repeat that elsewhere on the layout, so I cut 2 1/2-inch strips. Now these are from Sweet Safari, which is a very youthful kind of baby themed paper pack. So what I do is I organize all my stamps and my paper packs and dies in Evernote. So I put a picture of the paper pack in there and then list all the colors. So whenever I need to find something, like for example this red pattern paper, I just search my Evernote and type in Candy Apple Red, and it will show me all the paper packs that feature that color. So I can just pull it out and see if any of those patterns will work for me. It's a great way to utilize your stash, and it works so well with Close to My Heart because of the color coordination. The reds are going to match, even though they're from completely different paper packs. The cardstock and the inks and the pattern papers are all going to coordinate beautifully, especially red. That can be a tough one, and I don't really want to have 10 different reds around. So this works well for me. This also comes from the coordinating sticker sheet, and I thought this would look cute kind of right down here. It looks a little lonely by itself, so I cut a piece of the candy apple cardstock. We're going to dovetail this. We'll just cut up from the bottom and then in from each corner. Super simple. And then we'll tuck this up underneath here and kind of stagger those. I think that looks good. I like them overlapping like that, and then at different heights. I just think it adds a lot of interest. I have been using these layered flower dies quite a bit on my layouts lately. So what I did is I took the newspaper print from the Sweet as Honey collection and cut it with the bottom layer of the largest flower, and then I cut one of these detailed layers and inked up the edges. That's going to go right over the top of that, and then a center from black cardstock. I say it all the time, but these are super fun because they're so customizable, and there's large flowers all the way down to, you know, tiny flowers and a couple different leaves that you can tuck in, and I just think they're so cool. So I am going to kind of overlap the photo corner here and tie all of that in together. I have a little sticker from the coordinating sticker sheet. It says I love you with a gold foiled heart, and I'm popping that up right over here. Now I'm looking at my title and I feel like it needs something. I was thinking maybe definitely some more red, but I just want something behind that title. What I decided to do is cut this doily. Now this doily thin cut is no longer available. However, I know in the Eat, Play, Love digital collection, there is one very similar. So if you absolutely love it, you can find it there and cut it on your Cricut. But I'm going to slide this right behind here. Now I opted for a very subtle color because, again, I just want to add some visual interest and some texture without a lot of busyness. So by keeping the color palette really muted back here, that is going to, you know, not overwhelm the area. If I did red, I think it might be too much. I'm going to add red with tiny embellishments. I also have this Love Story scrapbooking stamp, and you guys saw in my last Smitten layout, I made this adorable notepad out of this here, but there is a few stamped sentiments on here. Life is made of memories. And anytime you have kind of a long linear stamp like this, I recommend you just lay it down and then pick it up with your block, and it will be straight. If you take it, you know, off the strip and then try to get it on there yourself, it might be kind of misshapen and not so straight. So just something to keep in mind. Lay it down on your desk and then just pick that right up like so. I have some archival black ink here. We'll get that opened up. And since I'm stamping right on my layout, I really want to make sure this is going to turn out well. I have a piece of just plain printer paper here, and we'll make sure that that is stamping well. Sometimes when you ink them up and stamp them several times, they just get better and better. So that is looking good. Let's ink it up one more time. I'm going to line it up right under my title here, just like so. Don't be afraid to stamp on your layouts. If you mess up, it's fixable. There are no mistakes, right? Just happy accidents. I found this little stamped heart already in my little heart bin, so I'm going to use that to draw that red color over to this side. And then there are black acrylic hearts. So these acrylic accessories or embellishments come in white and then the black, or you can even get them in wood. So there's hearts and brackets and just different shapes that are really cool, and they're thin. So you can get that texture and that look of the acrylic pieces without all the bulk. So I'm going to pick out a few hearts here to add in each cluster. This one's cute. I like these little guys with the tails. Maybe that one down there. And then I want one more over here. Let's find a tiny guy. So there's solids and then the outside shape and just a whole different assortment of them. I think they're really cool. I like that. To adhere the acrylic pieces, I like to use liquid glass, or the micro glue dots work really well also. And, you know, they might squish out. You can tuck them in just a little bit, but just kind of tap down on, you know, maybe 3 or 4 points. And then those will adhere nicely to your layout without any mess. So again, we use this gorgeous 12 by 12 border stencil to create this element on the bottom of our page. And then for our layered stencil techniques, we use 2 different card front stencils. I hope today's layout inspired you to grab your stencils and try some different layering techniques today. This is so fun. As always, all of the supplies I used to create this project will be listed in the description box below. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate a big thumbs up because that lets YouTube know that you enjoyed the content. Stay tuned. Tomorrow, Andrea is going to have something amazing for you, but you can catch the rest of the Creative Design Team videos right here in this playlist. Thanks, guys.